Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. I want to know more about the history of these creatures that are on this planet, these alien beings. I want to know everything about them, as much as possible, actually. I don't know if we'll ever get to that point, but I think that the human race should want to know the history of these creatures. Not just the history of our experience with them, but the history of what they experienced. Where did they start? What planet were they from? How many different planets are they from? And where did they come from? I'd like to know the answers to those questions. Just recently, I did an episode where I talked about the 10 most critical questions I have with regard to the alien presence on Earth. But when you really get down into the nitty-gritty of it, there are other questions too. And I did mention that in that episode, that there's a lot of other questions too. And one of the questions is the history of these creatures, their own personal history. That has nothing to do with us. Forget about us. What about them? Like, for instance, let's just focus on the insectoid creatures, the ones who seem to be in charge during abductions. How did that happen? Like, what sort of atmosphere and climate allowed for insects to evolve and become intelligent? I'd like to know the answer to that question. Where did they come from? How long did it take? I mean, how old are they? How old is their, when did they start recording history? Do they even record history the way humans do? I'd like to know the answer to that. Do they care about where they came from? I would have to imagine if they're intelligent, yeah, they probably do, but we just don't know. These are all we could do is really speculate. And how do they keep records of their past? I'd like to know that. I mean, do they use paper and books, or how did it work for them over all the millennia? I'd like to know the answer to that. I don't know. Human beings have only been recording history for about 5,000 years. It started back in Egypt and Mesopotamia, and that's it. 5,000 years. I mean, when you think about that, that's nothing. 5,000 years in the grand scheme of things. The age of the universe is, scientists say, is 13.5 billion years. Some scientists are now saying it's even older than that. It could be 27 billion years old. I mean, so 5,000 years of recorded history is nothing when you think about how long this universe has been here. I mean, human beings have only been recording it for 5,000 of those years. So that I want to know, like, how far back do these creatures go, and when did they start recording their history? If they even do, we don't know. But I would like to know. There has to be some kind of records that they keep, right, on where that all started. Maybe for as far as we know, their evolution is probably as much as a mystery to them as ours is to us. I mean, have they been able to figure out how it all started for them? Because we still haven't figured out how it all started for us. I'd like to know what they know about themselves. There's just so many questions when you really think about it. And of course, I'm just focusing here right now on the insect creatures. I mean, of course, there's the reptilian creatures, too. Where did they come from? Did they come from the same planet as the insectoids? Or are they from another planet? Some people believe that they are from other planets, the reptilians, that they're actually, they were from a planet conquered by the insectoids. According to David M. Jacobs, he believes that it's possible that the reptilians were from a different planet, and they were conquered by these insect creatures a long time ago in a hybridization program similar to what he believes is happening right now on this planet to the human race by these creatures. And now these reptilians that people see sometimes, these reptilian creatures that people encounter, are actually similar to the short grays, the tall grays. They're actually doing work for the insect creatures. All of it, again, is speculation, but I'd like to know the history of the reptilian creatures. How did that happen? What allowed that to be possible? And then, of course, about the gray aliens. I mean, what are they? Did they naturally evolve, or are they biological robots created by some other creature? All of these are great questions, but we don't have any of the answers. All we can do is speculate. We don't know anything about these beings. We can only guess on where they come from. I know there's a lot of people who say they don't even believe that they come from other worlds. They think that they're here the whole time or from another dimension. Again, how did it all start? It had to start somewhere for these creatures. They have to have some sort of records, right? Some historical records. What about technical things? How's the transfer of information work when it comes to these creatures? What was their past like? I mean, did they have a period in time like the industrial age, like we had? Did they have something like that? These are the kinds of questions I want to know the answers to. It's beyond unlocking the mystery of what they're doing here. I want to know more. I know that they're here. We all should know that they're here. I know some of us don't, but we all should know that they're here. That there's something going on here. But I want to know more about them. Forget about for now what they might be doing to us. What I'm trying to focus on here today is what happened with these creatures. Like, how did they evolve? How long has this been going on? Is there any books or something that we can look at that has a record of their history? I'd like to know that. We just don't know. We can only speculate. You look, for instance, like if you look at these Peru corpses that were found, these tridactyl creatures, these humanoid creatures, they're not human. The DNA is different. Like, how did those creatures get there? How did they end up in some cave in Nazca, like preserved? These creatures that were found there, and that has been a big discussion item in the UFO world the last couple of years. Like, how did that happen? Like, for instance, like. If they came from another planet, then we haven't found a spacecraft or anything at this point. So that's not, as far as we know, anyway. Maybe some government down there in Peru found it and it's being hidden from us. I don't know. I doubt it. But how did they get there? I have questions with regard to that. Like, if these tridactyl creatures, which seem to be real. I mean, there was one that was pregnant, and the baby inside the womb was a tridactyl creature, just like its mother. So, like, what's the history of those things? How did they end up there? If they did come from another planet, did something crash maybe, and then they were found and they were treated like slaves, like living gods, perhaps? I don't know. I'd like to know the answer to that. I don't know if we're ever going to get the answer to that. I mean, that was well over 1,000 years ago that those corpses were buried and they were preserved in those caves. And I'd like to know more about them. And then I'd like to know more about the creatures that are here right now with us, and the here and the now. But, all we can do is speculate about it. And because we're still stuck in this phase of whether it's real or it's not real, we can't really concern ourselves with those kinds of questions about trying to discover what the history is of these creatures. Like, how did this happen? I mean, was there a period in the history of the insectoids that are on this planet right now where they used horse and carriage to get around on their planet, or maybe some other sort of animal? I mean, I like to, again, there's just so many different questions that comes to mind. Like, did they have radio? Did they ever have a television? Did they invent something like television where everyone watched TV and had homes like we have? Or how do they live? Like, what kind of structures do they house themselves in? There's just so much that we could learn, that we're probably going to learn at some point, but I don't know, not anytime soon. We still got to get over this phase of whether it's real or not, as I've been talking about on the show a lot. I mean, it's unfortunate that I would say more than half the world doesn't really know the reality of the situation, that there is something here. But I think some people suspect it might be true. They're not sure. A lot of people are on the fence. But as I've been talking about here, we do have the absolute proof now that does show that we're not alone. But I want to know more. I just want to know about the history of them. I mean, we could be talking about multiple different histories here too. I mean, maybe there's, for all we know, the Greys, the insects, and the reptilians, they all come from different planets, and they're all just part of some federation, and they all have their own little separate histories. I mean, we could be talking about an unbelievably deep rabbit hole here. But I would be very much interested in knowing something, even a smallest little bit of information about what's in that rabbit hole. There has to be some really interesting data with regard to the historical background of these creatures before they even began developing the extraordinary technology that we see on display here now. I mean, I like to know, like, it's how did it start for them? How did they progress? How did they evolve over a course of, had to be a long time, right? Longer than us, I'm sure. They're probably an older race than the human race, I'm assuming, because they're here and we're not there. So obviously they seem like they might have been around a lot longer than we have been around. And they figured things out they're at a different level technologically, obviously, than we are at this point. Maybe we're catching up to them. I don't know. I mean, how far advanced could something get? That's another good question. How advanced could humans ever become, for instance? I'd like to know that. There's just so many questions with regard to the historical background of these creatures themselves. I mean, did they have presidents and kings? I mean, there's just so many questions. Or are they living in some sort of a hive mentality throughout their entire existence? There's just so much that we could learn, and we should be seeking answers to, hopefully, at some point in the future. I'd like to know the answers to these questions. Of course, we're not going to know probably in our lifetimes, but in the future, like once we get over certain humps, then we could start concerning ourselves with the historical records with relation to these creatures and how they got from where they were to where they are now. I would like to know that. That whole history would be very interesting to understand. Okay, moving on. I want to follow up with from the last episode where I was talking about the Vegas alien case, and I received a lot of comments on YouTube and Spotify. And I want to say I appreciated a lot of positive comments, and I want to go over some of those comments here today and talk about provide my insight on what some people are saying about this. I'm going to start off with a couple of positive comments here. This was one from Brian on Spotify. He says, "This great video shows motives of these aliens. I'm sure they are using projection images to scare people. I feel there are only the Greys and they project terrifying images to escape. The craft wasn't very big according to the video, would explain all the footsteps that were heard. I may be wrong, of course, who knows?" Yeah, we don't know. Again, we're just all any of us could do is really speculate. Of course, Brian is talking about the creatures that are seen in the Vegas alien video, and he is speculating that what happened there is that the taller creatures and all of that was projection. It was some sort of an effort to try to scare the people away. That's what he's suggesting. I don't know. Could be. I don't know. I mean, you watched that video, right? And for instance, the little gray that shows up, the one I call the undeniable backbreaker, or UB. I mean, to me, that one there, when he shows up for the few seconds that he's there, that he's visible, he looks solid. A lot of the creatures that appear throughout the video, the taller ones, for instance, the one whose face appears above the fence, he's not solid. You could see through it. It's transparent. Semi-transparent. And of course, as Scott Roeder, the crime scene reconstruction expert, pointed out a year ago, for some reason, 66% of the pixels in the area where that head appears were deleted somehow. Not enough so, though, however, to completely cover it up, what was there. We see the face of this creature hovering above the fence. Now, like I said, Brian's suggesting that could have been a projection, that the grays, the short gray, perhaps, that we see, if you watch that video, there's actually more than just that one gray. There's a couple of few instances throughout that video where you see shorter gray creatures, gray aliens. But that one there, the one that I've been showing a lot, that was the best one, the best visual that I could find in that video. And I don't know. You could be right. And then the footsteps, he's saying basically when they heard the footsteps, that was just the mirage too created by these creatures as a diversion to scare away the people. I don't know. He might be right. You might be right, Brian. I don't know. I don't know what to say. All we could do, again, is speculate. And here was another one from FallTDNH on Spotify. Says, You're doing fantastic, Jim. I see the aliens very clearly, and the entire thing is believable to anyone who really tries to look. The eyewitness accounts from that family are not made up. Many UAP sightings are believable just from the testimony. I clearly witnessed a triangle near Fort Huachuca, Arizona when I was 11, and that's enough for me to know we have something strange going on and we are not alone. Yeah, when you have your own encounter like that, you just know. I mean, it might take you a day or two to come to terms with it, but then you realize, man, there's no escaping this. I saw it, and it was real, and there's nothing we can do about it. Obviously, we're not alone. Now, I thought this was interesting. On YouTube, I had received a comment from Dramatic for Real, and this person stated, I've watched these videos many times but still cannot see anything while other people can see a being. Is there any focused still shot of this thing? I want to see what others are seeing. So I provided him dramatic K for real, that with a link to a video that I did, a year-end video where I tried to. I've done numerous videos over the past year where I tried to show people that were having trouble seeing the creatures in the yard. I would do whatever I could to help them see them. So I directed him to one of those videos, and then he must have went there, or she, dramatic K for real, and then came back and wrote this. I see the face now, thanks. I have personally seen an insect-looking praying mantis being in the early 80s when I was about 4 or 5 years old, but it was during sleep paralysis, so I don't know if it was real, but it was extremely real to me, and I still can see it as if it were yesterday. I'm 49 now and will never forget its face. I still get chills. Well, that is very scary. I don't know what to say. See, that's the thing. I mean, with sleep paralysis, in a lot of instances with sleep paralysis, some people have they feel like there's a presence in the room sometimes, and they see things. I don't know if you were having sleep paralysis and you were seeing things, or if the aliens had paralyzed you and they were there was one in the room with you. It's hard to say. Now, I know when I had my encounter in 1977 with one of these creatures, I never saw its face, for one thing, because I just saw what I saw through the blanket. That I saw its arm and its hand. That's all I could really see, and a little bit of its figure in the background, like a partial shadow in the background. But it was a thin blue blanket, and I could see its arm and hand pretty clearly, and there was no question about it that whatever this was, it wasn't human. I could tell you that. But I was not suffering with sleep paralysis at the time. I was completely mobile. I could move around, and I could hear this. Not only that, but I heard this unbelievably, like, all encompassing humming sound, electronic humming sound, or buzzing the whole time for the entire 20 minutes, and then somehow I got conked out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It could have been. I mean, I guess that's the issue here. There is a thing called sleep paralysis, and I did have that a few times when I was a kid, and it's scary as hell, and you can't move. I never really saw anything during those instances. I did hear noises, like I heard banging on the wall, but then I would snap out of it and everything would seem go back to normal. To me, sleep paralysis is different than, of course, than an encounter with an alien creature. However, I do know, and there's so many different cases in the literature, there's some people that run into these creatures in broad daylight, and next thing you know, they're paralyzed and they can't move. I don't know how these creatures are able to accomplish that, and maybe that's what happened to you. We just don't know. Again, all we could do is speculate. But here's the good thing, is that we do know that whether you had a real alien in your bedroom that night or not, there is still something here that doesn't change. There is no question about it. We're most certainly not alone. But I did get also some comments from people who just can't see it. From another one on YouTube. CastRot2701 says, no matter how many videos I've seen trying to break this video down, I still can't see anything at all. I can't even see a blurry depiction of said aliens. And this person also actually does believe that the incident happened. He's having trouble seeing the beings. He just can't see them. And then I had a couple other comments from Spotify subscribers. This was Mr. Tindongers says, I can't see anything in these photos. How can you say it's 100% proof? Nowhere near it. Sorry. And then Mark Herty says, bro, what are you looking at? I just don't see anything you're talking about. Well, let me tell you something, bros. There is something there. I'm sorry to tell you. You just haven't seen it yet, and you're going to have to put in the work to understand what's happening in this video. It's not as simple as, I think what happens is here, and the same thing happened to me actually early on. When this Las Vegas alien video first surfaced in, I guess it was late May or early June of 2023. I looked at the video and I wasn't seeing anything. I couldn't see anything. I wasn't seeing anything either. And it took a lot of time. You had to slow it down. You had to zoom in on certain points and all that kind of thing. Now, these people, I've done that. In the previous show, I was showing them again, but see, they're not seeing them. They didn't see. That's the whole thing. I think some people, right? are just having trouble, and there's not much you can really do about it. I would say this: how come all these other people, a vast majority of people that do sit down and absorb some of the information related to this case are seeing them? It's not just me. I mean, there's way more people that come to my channel that say they are seeing it that come here and say they're not seeing it. So I don't know what to say, but anyway, I've done a lot of different shows over the past year where I tried to help people who are having trouble seeing them, and sometimes it helps. Like you saw in just from that earlier comment there, somebody was having trouble. I pointed them to a different video to check out. They went and looked at it, and then they were able to see it. And that's all I could really do for anyone else here. I'm going to play a short clip from, it was the year-end video that I did. It was called The Biggest UFO and Alien Story of 2024. And of course, it was the Vegas alien story because, even though it happened in 2023, but I call it the biggest story of 2024 because it wasn't until April of last year when we found out, when we had the analysis finally from Scott Roeder, and we were able to say with 100% assurance that there's creatures in the yard and that these people were telling the truth, and they really did have this crazy experience with non-human intelligence. And so what I'll do is I'm just going to play a few minutes of that video of one of the creatures of UB. I did some things in that video to try to help people see these creatures better. So here I'm going to just check out this short clip here. People look at the video and they don't see anything. Well, today I'm going to try to help more people out. I've done some things here. I'm going to try to help people out so they could see what a lot of other people are seeing in this video. But I just want to play this the section where UB is seen, a close-up of it. I've played this before. We're just going to go through it. And as you can see, I have it in slow motion here. But right here, you can see an eye there, an eye there. It's all warped right now. It's all distorted for some reason, like something's in the way. But then all of a sudden, you can see it. Let me just pause it right there. You can see it. You can see an eye here, an eye here. This is its head, right here. You can see it right around. Let me just play it. You can watch it. It's going to turn its head here. There, turn its head. And then it becomes distorted again as if it knows it's being filmed and it's trying to get out of the frame. And when it gets right before it gets distorted, it's like it throws its head back, and you can still see its eyes, and now you can see what looks like a mouth right here. And then it just disappears. Let me just play that one more time for people so they could see. And then I'm going to show you some still images that I've taken from this. Here it is. Like, you can see a warped version of it. But you can make it out, and then suddenly you're going to be able to see it. There it is. There it is. And there it turns its head, and then it becomes distorted again right there, and then it disappears. Okay, now I took a still image from right when it turns its head. This is a still image of the creature right when it turns its head. Okay, here's an eye there, an eye there. This is its head right here. And I'm not even going to get into this, but there's apparently other beings around it as well. I'm not going to try to confuse people. I just want to focus on UB right here. Okay, you can see it now. Here's I drew an outline around it so you could see it better. Now there it is. You see it? Now this is what I'm seeing. This is what other people are seeing. This is what some people are having trouble seeing, and I'm hoping that this will help people out. And that it's not over yet, though. I have another picture, another enhancement as well. As you can see, there's an eye there, an eye there. This is head. I drew a line around where I see it. Let's go back to the original. You seeing it better now? Look, go back before. There it is. Now you can see it better. There. See, this is what a lot of us are seeing, but some people are having trouble seeing it. And then I actually colored in the entire thing. Now watch this. There. See? There you go. Now this is what I was using in the thumbnail, so you already probably saw this. So let's go from one. There's the original. There's an outline and eyes colored in and an outline drawn around the figure. And then finally I colored in the entire figure. There you could see it. That's what's there, folks. That is a gray alien, a short gray alien. It meets the description. It's actually moving. Look at it. There you go. Let's go do it again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This could be, you could do an exercise. Maybe you should do I should start an exercise program. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now let's go back and watch that video again. Here you go. Here's the video. Maybe you'll see it better now. Maybe for the people who have been having trouble with this, maybe this will help you. I do not know. I hope so. I hope so. There it is. There it is. And that's when it turns its head right there. See, when it turns its head, that's when I paused it right there and I took a still image, and there it is. That's a still image I took. And then you go 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let me show you something else I did here. Let's go through it again. And right when it becomes distorted at the end, I've done something else, and we'll check that out next. Okay, again, there's whatever powers they have, whatever abilities, they were able to hide themselves somehow. There it turns its head, and now it's like it notices it's being filmed, and then whoop, it flings its head back. Now I pause it there. Now maybe people are having trouble seeing this. So here I took there's a still image of that same where head gets tossed back, and then I drew it there. There you see, I filled the eyes in with black, and I put an outline around the head, and I put also filled in the mouth now, which you could see. You couldn't see the mouth in the previous image, but now you could see it. Let me go back and forth with it. There you see it, and then you see the mouth and the eyes. You can see it clearly, and then I also colored the whole thing in. Are you seeing it now? Is this helping you? Is this helping? I hope it helps people, because this evidence proves it. I mean, the video, as Scott Roeder, he's an expert with over 30 years of experience in video analysis, crime scene reconstructions, all that kind of stuff. And he determined that the video, him and his team determined that the video was not tampered with. And there are creatures like this appearing throughout the entire video, the entire 1 minute and 41 second video. Now, I'll leave the link for the rest of that video, because there was other aliens where I did the same kind of deal with, where I drew outlines around them and colored them in so you could see it better. And then when you maybe go take a second look at the original video after that, then you might be able to see them better. And maybe there's always this, though, too. And I just want to point this out. Now, of course, like I was stating in the previous show, I get upset when I talk about some of the people that try to say that there's nothing to this case, or try to ridicule me or anybody else who believes in it. That bothers me, because I know that they're wrong, and they really didn't look into this. But I do have sympathy for people who are trying and they want to see it, but they're just not. But it's there regardless. Just because they're not seeing it doesn't mean it's not there. They're just for some reason, something's preventing them from seeing it. Maybe it's some sort of protection. Their brains are just not ready to receive this information, and so there's a gauntlet going up, and it's not allowing that information to get into their brains. I mean, there was one person that was last year who was having trouble seeing it, and then I did some things. I made a video up, and then he finally saw the little guy, the UB, the undeniable backbreaker, and he was upset when he realized what I was pointing out. When he finally saw it and he realized, my God, there's no question, and he was very unnerved over the whole thing. So I think for some people there's resistance in their subconscious going on, and it's preventing them from seeing these things, and maybe that's for their own protection. I don't know. Anyway, getting back to some of the comments here. Here was another YouTube comment. This was from Big Dog Drod. It says, great work, Jim, especially finding this event correlates with Allagash 4. Wonder about the tall EBEs, extraterrestrial biological entities. Now, he's saying, well, before I continue, he's saying about, talking about how the event correlates with the Allagash 4, of course, in that show, as I've done in several shows, where I showed how that one creature that was standing next to standing in front of the front loader. I mean, if you look at it, do a side by side with one of the drawings made by one of the young men who was abducted in 1976 while in Maine's Allagash Wilderness on a camping trip, you see that it looks like the same kind of creature. So I'm wondering if this was like the same kind of crew that has been abducting people all these years. I respond, and then actually he continued. He says, he also says, if you use probability metric, this definitely happened. Kind of like capturing a crime on camera versus just having testimony. Exactly. So you have the testimony, and then you have all of these instances that take place within a 1 minute and 41 second long video, where you could see all these different faces, and they're all like alien faces. I mean, so what are the chances? I mean, and I actually responded to him. I said, yeah, if one were to apply probability and statistics analysis to this, those numbers would show that the chances of this being something different than what the witnesses stated would be infinitesimal. Yeah. I was talking to Dr. Keith Taylor and last year at some point, or maybe it was earlier this year, and he was saying that it's like an intelligence test at this point. I mean, if you can't put everything together here, then I don't know what to say to you. I don't know where to go. I mean, because statistically, the chances of all of that happening. I mean, you just happen to have a family. You have the father and a son. There was the two teenage sons and the father, but there was a 911 call made, and I played that in the previous show again. And in that 911 call, you hear the son Angel and the father Bobby talking to the dispatcher, the 911 dispatcher, talking about 8 to 10 foot tall alien beings in their backyard. So what are the chances then? And then the cops come, but just before they made that call, they actually filmed that 1 minute and 41 seconds worth of video. Now, what are the chances that people are going to experience something like this, and then the video just happens to show alien faces popping in and out of dematerializing and materializing throughout the entire thing? What are the chances? I'd like to know what that number is, because it would be the chances of it not being alien would be infinitesimal. So I don't know what to say other than that there's the chances of it being something else is, to me, it doesn't work. I mean, for one thing, you have the craft coming down. You have the blue and green craft coming down. You had the witnesses said when it came into the yard, it had green and blue lights on it, and right when it made that hard landing in the backyard, it threw off red sparks and then vanished because it was using some sort of cloaking device, apparently. And then the creatures themselves were cloaked. The cloaking worked sometimes, and then it didn't. That's what was happening there. It's obvious. I mean, this is, to me, right. You got to put in the time, though. If you want to know the truth, if you want to know for sure that there's something here on this planet, right? All you got to do is go study this video, study this entire case, and you're going to walk away knowing that this proves it. It actually proves it. And if they went to court, a jury would find in favor of the aliens. That's all I got to really say about that. Okay, I got another comment here. This is from Oblivion Surveyor, and Oblivion Surveyor has his own channel, and he says, I spotted the aliens craft and another cloaked alien in the cell phone video. It's on my channel, so I'll leave a link to Oblivion Surveyor's channels, because he's been finding stuff. I've been having some issues trying to, like I thought that stuff that he was pointing out, it could be, I don't know. You could check it out yourself. It's just, to me, it's more. There's just so much to this video, and we need like people who are serious video experts looking at this. Not just Scott Roeder and his team, but everyone. You would think that more people across this world would be more interested in studying that video and getting to the bottom of it. But that's not the case. It's just not the case. I don't know. Maybe the human race just doesn't want it. It's too much. It's too much. We have too many other problems in the world to be worrying about the extraterrestrial / non-human intelligence among us. We can't think about that. It's just too much. So let's table it to a different day. We're just not gonna. We don't want to face that right now. Maybe subconsciously that's what we're all doing. I mean, I'm not, of course. I'm trying to push this one out there as best I could, but some of us don't seem like we want to do that. I don't know. But anyway, there's just no doubt about it, and I think that in time, oh yeah, there's one more thing, and there's one more thing here I want to bring up before I end the show today, and I just want to point out it's actually not good news. Well, I mean, it's really not too bad, I guess, but this month, April, Ancient Aliens was slated to have their first episode on the History Channel this month, but apparently it's been pushed back all the way to July. I just found that out a couple of days ago, right when I finished completing my other podcast. I was on the phone with Scott Roeder, and he told me that it got pushed back to July. Actually, I was on a Twitter Spaces with him too when he was talking about it. But so the episode's not going to premiere until July, unfortunately. Anyway, So, and we'll see if that that does anything when it comes out. We'll find out at that point. But I just want to say this. I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.